Good morning, everyone. Glad to have you with us on the program this morning, not only on 580 WIBW, but also on our StreamYard feed. And you can go to our 580 WIBW Facebook page. It's listed, just type in the search WIBW News, and we will be talking with our guest here shortly. We're going to be previewing the 20th Women Managing the Farm Conference. And joining us here in just a bit will be Janet Bailey, who is a part of the planning committee, but she has been there on the planning committee since the beginning back in 2005. And she will talk about that, and we'll get a preview of this year's Women Managing the Farm Conference coming up on this morning's Ag Issues program here on 580 WIBW. But before we do that, let's get a check of the weather. Okay, so for those of you watching on StreamYard, we're running the weather forecast right now on 580 WIBW. So this is a little, as radio people like to term it, inside baseball. So trying to do both things at once. And as I joke every time I try to do this, I'm hearing program audio on 580 in this year, and then I'm hearing the StreamYard audio in this ear. So two things coming into my head at once. Sometimes that's successful, sometimes it's not. But Janet Bailey is scheduled to join us here shortly. And as we both mentioned beforehand, we are very glad we are inside. But as she is now the CEO of the Kansas Dairy Association, her members definitely are battling the elements right now, tough elements nonetheless too. Yeah. So any of you watching right now, we feel for you, but we know you're doing what's best for your herds, your animals, livestock, you name it, being able to do. So stand by, everyone, on the StreamYard feed, and we will get back to it here shortly. Meteorologist Dan Holliday, thank you very much for the update on 580 WIBW. Right now in the capital city, we have 6 below zero in Topeka, 8 below zero at Forge Field. It is as cold in our listening area as 11 below in Manhattan this morning. But the further west you go, the more negative double-digit readings you have. 15 below both in the Hayes and Russell area, 11 below in Hill City, 13 below in Garden City, down to even 17 below this morning in Colby. The garden spot right now in Kansas, Elkhart, and they are at 7 above zero. This morning on the Ag Issues program, and we are pleased to be joined this morning by our good friend Janet Bailey, who has been a planning committee member for the Women Managing the Farm Conference, but she has been doing this, and this is the 20th conference. She's been involved in all 20, being a part of the planning committee itself. Janet, good morning. How are you?
Good morning, Greg. Doing well.
This has been an unbelievable conference, and I can think back to when we had you on Ag Issues back in 2005, previewing the very first Women Managing the Farm Conference. And this year, by the way, February 14th through the 16th will be the conference itself, and that will take place in Manhattan as always. But before we get into some of the particulars of the conference, you've seen it since the very beginning as far as its growth is concerned. And I'm sure you thought back to 2005, helping plan the first one, to what we're seeing here in 2024, helping to plan the 20th coming up here in less than a month from now.
It's, it's encouraging to know that something that started from a colleague of mine who at the time was working for the Association of Wheat Growers, Kansas Association of Wheat Growers, and some folks within Kansas State University identified a need, and we still identify that need and opportunity today. It's still very relevant. And it's exciting to see that we have women of all age groups, all demographics across the state who want to come together and learn. And that's the common theme that has made this conference exciting. It's made it something that, we as a planning committee continue to ask what women need, what they want to see. And, we could probably have 3 times the amount of breakout sessions in terms of the capacity for learning. And people are very hungry for the content and really enjoy coming together. And the title itself, Women Managing the Farm, oftentimes women don't think of themselves as managers, but that very first effort, people recognized we had a lot of women who found themselves having to make management decisions, and they had never done that before. They might have been widowed, or they might have found themselves inheriting land and making management decisions. And that is very simply where that title came from. So for 20 years, we've been empowering women to make decisions that they may not have anticipated they would be making. Only now, as we see women continuing to take more of a role in the industry and more of a role in their farming operations, we're empowering them with the tools they need so that they can move forward in whatever capacity they have in those farming operations.
Let's get some of the particulars out of the way first. And this is, of course, where it's going to be. That will be at the Hilton Garden Inn in Manhattan. That has been the home here for the past several years. But of more importance is an early registration deadline. As a matter of fact, that is coming up on Thursday, or the deadline is Thursday for the early registration deadline. Just give us some of the particulars if they want to take advantage, which I hope they do, of the early registration deadline.
That's right. If people want to register by this Thursday, the 18th, the registration is $175. So they will save a little bit. Also, if they want to get a room in the room block at the conference hotel, it's a great time to secure that room and ensure that they can be on site. There are some great hotels nearby in Manhattan, but that's a deadline that is worth keeping in mind. So, on these cold days, it's a good opportunity to take a couple minutes and register. People can register at womenmanagingthefarm.com, womenmanagingthefarm.com. And the 14th, we will have a pre-conference session. Those are optional. This year, there's an on-site session, and it will allow women to rise and renew. Our conference theme this year is Rise. And so we have one on-site pre-conference session, Rise and Renew, allowing women to explore some women's mental health, how they can advance mental health within their farming operations, in their community, and then do some hands-on creative exercises to close that session out. There's also something on the 14th for women who might want to meet at one of 6 locations and either ride to the conference together or caravan with some stops across the state. So that's new this year for our 20th anniversary, or our 20th conference. And those are only $25 additional to participate in each of those. And then our conference will kick off that Thursday morning on the 15th.
Yeah, those tours, that is a great opportunity, because there are things here. I've lived in Kansas all my life, and there are things here I had not heard of that are going to be great opportunities for anybody that's going to be out there who participates in these tours to be able to see some great things.
You know, it's really a shout out to the public-private partnership that we have. We have folks from the private sector. We've got travel and tourism as a part of our planning committee, K-State Research and Extension, several farmers who come to our committee, and some companies who are committed to this being successful. And because of that, you get a really rich opportunity to have some stops that we might not have otherwise identified. And so we really are grateful for that. You know, things from Eagle Ridge Ranch in Abilene for folks who might be coming from Kinsley. They're going to be able to stop at the Eisenhower Presidential Library. Of course, people coming from El Dorado are going to get to stop at Hildebrand Farms. And in my dairy role, we're always excited when Melissa can host people at her dairy operation. People coming from Stockton will be able to go to North 40 Alpacas and Marcon Pies, which of course would be one of the stops I'd look forward to. We've got a group coming from Garnett where they can either catch a ride with an extension agent there or caravan in to go to Valley View Elk Ranch or 456 Wineries in Wamego. So just really a great diverse set of stops, some time for additional fellowship and to tour their way through to Manhattan.
All right. We're going to take a break, and when we come back, we're going to get into the meat of the conference for the Women Managing the Farm Conference, February 14th through the 16th. You can go to womenmanagingthefarm.com to get more details. Our guest, one of the planning committee members, Janet Bailey, will join us here on the Ag Issues program on 580 WIBW. Stay with us. All right. We're in a commercial break right now for those of you who are with us on the StreamYard feed. And again, just a little inside baseball. If you see us kind of glancing down, you know, if you watch TV, one of the things you see on television stations, TV news, is that they keep looking straight at the camera. Well, here's a little inside secret. They look at a teleprompter, which is just right by the, or right on the sight line of the camera. So they're basically reading their script. We in radio, we do not have that. We have what's called paper, and it has all of our information on there. So that's a little secret for those of you who are wondering, why do we keep looking down? I don't know if it matters, but just wanted to let everybody know that
we try to be accurate, and it's good to have notes, right?
Oh, yes. Because there's also secrets about you can run the speed on your teleprompter a little too quick. And as I always tell people on TV, if you mess something up, they see your face. If you mess it up in radio, they don't see your face. They know who you are, but they don't see your face. So, all right. We are coming up here on the end of the commercial break, and then we'll be back, obviously, to talk about more about the Women Managing the Farm Conference, because we've got to get into the meat of what will be happening February 15th and 16th during the conference itself. So stand by to everyone on StreamYard, and we will be back with you when returning back to our live interview right now, as a matter of fact. We are getting a preview of the 20th Women Managing the Farm Conference, taking place February 14th through the 16th at the Hilton Garden Inn in Manhattan. And you can go to womenmanagingthefarm.com to get more information and to register. Remember, the pre-registration deadline is January 18th, coming up this Thursday. Janet Bailey, who has been on the planning committee for all of the Women Managing the Farm Conference, it's the 20th annual. She joins us on the Ag Issues program this morning here on 580 WIBW. and also on StreamYard as well. You can go to our 580 WIBW Facebook page you can see that. Just type in the search WIBW News. All right, Janet, let's get into the meat of the Women Managing the Farm Conference. And a lot of this, and you will have a great keynote speaker, by the way, coming up as well. Talk about that, but of more importance, a lot of the breakout sessions that you have during the last 2 days of the conference.
Our breakout sessions, women will be able to choose between 5 or 6 different options at each breakout time, and they cover different risk areas. So anything from some of the family communication issues that you may have within farming and ranching, to farm finance and things to keep in mind with your financial provider. There's always a strong interest in all the different aspects of estate planning, or looking at how you structure your business, and so every year we try to rotate those topics for women. And then we get into some of the production issues that are important this year. Tara Barnhart, who is a veterinarian from Southwest Kansas, will be speaking, and she's got such great field experience with beef cattle and also calf raising. And we're excited that Tara is able to come from her private practice and spend some time with women.
You've got so many, and it really ranges on levels of. I see one of the breakout sessions talking about the basics of grain and livestock marketing, but also looking at understanding your farm's profitability. But it's so many varying levels, depending on obviously how the women in the farm operation, what they're able to do or what they do in the operation itself.
That's true, and it also provides that gateway for them to learn a little bit and build some networks. Sometimes it whets their appetite to learn more and create another resource, so they can call somebody after the conference. Maybe it's other women who they meet in those sessions, and also those speakers, to create a stronger resource base for them.
Speaking of speakers, you've got a couple of keynote sessions. Thursday, you get kicked off with a great speaker in Mark Mayfield.
We are so excited to have Mark Mayfield, a speaker with national prominence, but from Southeast Kansas. And when we were planning, it was a great time to bring Mark, to bring his message in. He is somebody who resonates well with any audience, but we know Mark to be somebody who's incredibly positive, and he will entertain us, but also inspire us. And I think we can all use a little dose of that right now.
Yeah, most definitely. And then the other keynote, or you've got several keynotes, but you got another one that comes up on Friday, the 16th, but is talking about the power of women in agriculture.
We, again, are really looking forward to hosting Kim Bremer. She grew up on a dairy farm in Wisconsin. She was a nutritionist for 15 years. And Kim's experience really lends well to bring her understanding of science, her understanding of people, and how each woman can share their story in agriculture. She is a tremendous voice for agriculture, and I think she'll let each woman think about what they bring to this industry and how they can share their story, and do so with some real insights into the issues that we see in our agriculture today.
One of the things, and you've been on this planning committee since the beginning, back in 2005. For so many conferences that you've attended, that I've attended as well, the ability to network is so important with other convention, conference people that or that have learned to know, and have been able to grow friendships with. This is really magnified for this conference on the ability to partnership and just to develop those relationships.
It is, and it's something that we see that is, I think, very special about agriculture. It's not only people who have shared experiences who might be of the same age or stage of life, but it's also special among those who are intergenerational. And you see a special level of mentorship or women who are seeking to learn from those who've been there before. So, that first year when we were targeting women who maybe had been widowed or inherited land, the reality was we had women in their 80s and, an infant about 8 months old and all ages in between. And I think that's the real value of women coming together is we have all age ranges. For women managing the farm now, we have a special student rate and we encourage and welcome students to come. And again, we see that value of creating these friendships, these networks, mentorships that can last. And it's great to see women coming back and these friendships that develop at this conference.
Well, not only for you, Janet, but you could probably talk to any one of these who have attended or soon will be attending all 20 conferences. They probably have an individual or several individual experiences as to people you knew already but have grown the relationship, or you might have met new at this conference and have grown the relationship.
I can think to women I would not have met otherwise. And I know I've heard so many stories from people who met people who they've called or texted or continue to keep in touch with throughout the year and might ask them questions, hey, how do you handle this, how do you do this, or just simply a general understanding, if they're from different regions and we do things a little bit differently across the state based upon our regional needs. And there's tremendous value in that.
All right, as we wrap this up, once again, it's coming up February 14th through the 16th. Important pre-registration deadline coming up. So if people want more information or want to get registered before the deadline comes up this Thursday, what's the best way they can do that?
Womenmanagingthefarm.com is the best way to register if they want to save some money. Register by Thursday. If they don't get registered by Thursday, they can still attend. They can still come to the conference. It'll just cost them a little bit more, but still, I don't know where you get more information for less money. So we'd like to help them save money and get registered by Thursday, but we'll take their registrations after that until we're full.
All right, sounds good. Janet, my friend, as always, very much appreciated. We've talked about this now for 20 years, but it's been a pleasure to talk about that, and we hope everything goes smashingly well at the 20th Women Managing the Farm Conference.
We couldn't do it without our great partners who share the word. Thanks so much, Greg.
That is Janet Bailey, who is a part of the planning committee for the Women Managing the Farm Conference. As she has joined us on the Ag Issues program here on 580 WIBW. Stay with us when we come back. We'll get an update on the news headlines and we'll check the weather forecast that comes up next.